We all know how the story ends. A boy flying too high gets too close to the sun, his wings melt, and he falls into the sea. But this isn't a story about failure. It's a story about freedom and what happens when our desire to rise higher than everyone else burns us alive. This is the story of Icarus and the truth about ambition. In Greek mythology, Daedalus was a brilliant inventor. By the way, there's many ways that you might pronounce Daedalus. It could be Daedalus, it could be Daedalus. I'm just going to say Daedalus. He was the brilliant mind behind the labyrinth, the maze that contained the Minotaur. When the king of Crete no longer trusted him, Daedalus and his son Icarus were locked away in a tower. Their genius now their prison. But Daedalus, he refused to die in confinement. So from wax and feathers, he built 2 sets of wings. I guess you work with what you got. But before they took flight, Daedalus warned his son Icarus, fly too low and the sea's going to drown you. Fly too high and the sun's going to melt your wings. But as they rose into the sky, the rush of the wind, the warmth of the sun, the taste of freedom was intoxicating to Icarus. He completely forgot his father's warning, and he soared higher and higher and higher, believing he was more than just human. But then the wax began to melt, the feathers fell away, and the boy who wanted to touch heaven, he fell. For centuries, people have told this story as a warning. Don't fly too high. Don't be too ambitious. Don't get burned. But what if that's not the point of this story at all? Icarus didn't die because he flew too high. He died because he didn't understand the limits of his wings. He had the courage to rise. He just didn't have the wisdom to sustain it. I sort of have begun to look at it this way. Ambition, that's not a sin. Arrogance, maybe it is. And the problem is sometimes people confuse the two. Think about this. We chase success. We chase validation. We climb higher and higher and higher, but forget to strengthen what actually carries us. We forget rest. We forget reflection. We forget balance. And then we crash. Not because we flew, but because we ignored the sun. I think symbolically, Icarus lives in every person who works themselves to exhaustion, who ignores warning signs, who builds their wings of wax instead of steel. Maybe those of us who seek to be admired rather than pursuing fulfillment. I think when you think about Icarus, as he flew closer to the sun, he had to feel the warmth increase. And that's sort of like us. That's the warning signs. As things start to get hotter and hotter, Icarus just went higher and higher instead of pulling back and realizing, I'm at the ends of what I can do. And ultimately, it was the end of Icarus. But maybe there's another way to see it. Maybe the story of Icarus, it isn't a tragedy, it's an evolution. Because to fall, well, at least that means you tried. And every person who's soared too close to something great understands that falling isn't necessarily failure. It's feedback. The trick isn't to stop flying. It's to build stronger wings. I challenge you to think of ambition as being something sacred, but it's got to be rooted in purpose, not just pride. Before you chase the next goal, ask yourself, why am I flying? Is it for freedom, or is it for attention? When you fly for freedom, the sun becomes your guide. When you fly for attention, it becomes your destruction. We all fall at some point, but the fall isn't the end. It's the beginning of wisdom. And the sea that swallowed Icarus, it didn't bury him. It baptized him into legend. So fly, dream, build. Just make sure your wings are built from purpose, not wax. If this story hit you, if you've ever felt like Icarus chasing the sun, please hit subscribe. Every week, we uncover another myth and talk about how it actually impacts and touches our soul. Remember, these old stories aren't just stories. They're actually mirrors. Till the next time.